the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Well, welcome and how do you do? It's 2017. Yes, we thought we'd never make it, but we did. It is January 2nd. This is the first week of 2017, and I welcome you back. One of the things I'm going to do this year, this is the time everybody makes your resolutions, is that I'm going to get a little bit more disciplined with my reports. A, starting to use a tripod more often, and B, sticking to a schedule. I know I always try to get something posted every week, but the schedule I'm talking about is trying to report throughout the week more diligently than I have been. I've been getting sloppy lately, starting on Wednesdays, and that's no good because you've already skipped some stuff. So it is Monday. I am in the display room because I am starting the year like I love to start every year, with a big fresh order of templates going out. So plotter is plotting in the other room. So too noisy to be doing that sort of camera work in there. Going to be jumping on the 3 ships. I'm going to try to get them knocked out. Here we go, talking about stuff I haven't actually done yet. Trying not to overpromise. That was my resolution last year. It's still the same this year. Trying not to overpromise. So today, I am working on an order, so I don't know how much model work I'll get done. I did get the replacement fins in from Tracy over the weekend, and I have started to putty in the pylons, We're moving along on those. It's just I can't show you anything right now until I'm done. So hopefully in the week ahead, I've got another big project that I'm working on, semi-big. You can maybe see right, let me see if I can work. This is why I would suck as a weatherman, because I can't do things on the screen. You may see the poking out right there of a bridge chair, and I'm working on that this week. I'm hoping to get the upholstery and accoutrements in from Ralph Miller this week, and I'll be putting his info up for anybody who is interested in doing the same to their chairs. But that's it for this fine introduction, so let's get on with the week. Good morning, it's Tuesday. I spent yesterday putting together Steve's order and getting that ready to go out in the mail today. So we're back at the combo of Nova Class / Equinox and Rhode Island builds. And what I'm doing is I am setting the nacelles. The best way to do this, I have found, is to, you need something slow setting that is slow enough for you to be able to manipulate it, but not so slow that you have to, clamp it up or hold it in a weird position, for an hour for it to dry. You don't want to use a super glue or CA, because unless you have just the best, steadiest hand of a surgeon and the eye of an eagle, you're not going to get it lined up just in the right spot for that 1 second. Or, if you have somebody else who can help you, you will hold it in the right position and let them drop the glue on it, then, go for it. Sometimes model building can be a team sport. But I have found that, you don't want to use something so slow, like, first of all, you're on resin, so that you're automatically limited as to what kind of glues will work on resin in the first place. You're basically down to CAs and epoxies. Epoxy, the 5-minute epoxy, the 20-minute epoxy, anything that you have to, that's the 2-part that you have to mix up and glop on there. It's messy. It's going to run all over the place. You can't really control it. It's like herding cats. I have found the best solution for this particular instance is this 2-part epoxy putty. You can buy it at your most of your hardware stores, your big box home improvement stores. You can get it at Walmart. It's a 2-part. They have different brands and different colors. I've got one that's actually got bits of metal in it for, if you were going to repair a metal pipe or something. This is basically a plumber's putty. It's for plastic. Anyway, I'm rambling. It is basically 2-part putty. It's got an outer core and an inner core, and you mix it together like You know, and you just knead it together for a few minutes. And what it is what I like about it is it sets up slowly, but then it gets rock hard. You'll have to sand it when it's done. It does not work as well as, say, a JB weld, but again, JB weld, just like another type of liquid epoxy, the two parts, they run all over the place, and you have to mix it up, and it's sloppy. That's what I'm getting at. It's sloppy. This stuff you just knead up for a few seconds. I suppose the other alternative you could use would be epoxy sculpt. You could use epoxy sculpt, but that really takes about a day to really set up to the point where you can start abusing it. And this stuff sets up a lot faster. Now, what I normally do is use this as a base, and then I Bondo over top of it to smooth it out, because you can't work this stuff like you can work epoxy sculpt as far as, you know, the final finish of it. If that makes any sense at all, if I'm just rambling. I've had 2 cups of coffee this morning, so anything's possible. So basically what you do, if you make up a little snake of it, a little ball of it, and then you, let's see, this nacelle goes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay a little bit of it on the top of the pylon, and just cram the old nacelle into place. Now I'm seeing the ghost image of where that pylon top was, so I know where it needs to be. And basically I'm just going to jam it down on top. Yes, that's gonna be ugly and ball up around. You're gonna carve that stuff off. But now you just eyeball it. You spend about 5 minutes eyeballing right, left, top, bottom, trying to get the profile nice and square. I'm sorry, I'm going to get this out of the way. What I'm doing is, you know, sighting it down the side here, looking at it from the back, looking at it from the other side, looking at it from the front, just eyeballing it to get it into the proper position. And the first one's always easiest, because all you're doing is leveling it up with the rest of the ship. The second one is tougher, because then you have to make it look parallel to the first one. But what this allows you to do, and I'm going to see if I'm brave enough to do both of these at the same time, or whether I'm just going to let this one set and then come back to it. But since I did up enough putty for both of these, and let me see if I am up for the challenge of doing both of them at the same time. And the longer you leave this on, I mean, obviously you're going to leave it on for the life of the ship, but I mean, the longer you work with it, as it begins to get stiffer, that's when you can kind of start going back in and carving, you know, scalloping some of the edges off of it, and getting it into a more manageable, because everything that you scrape off now is something that you won't have to sand off later when it gets rock solid. Again, right up in where it where the ghost of the pylon was. Okay, and now I'm just looking down the center of the saucer, and I am trying to line up both of these nacelles at the same time, trying to get a parallelness here, trying to get a squareness here, a symmetry there, and a squareness there. So I'll be doing this for a little bit. You don't need to be watching me scratch my head. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes of intense fiddling. And that's another thing. This putty will start to set up, so you have to get yourself happy with it and then stop monkeying with it so that it has a place to settle correctly. So what I've got is, I don't know how much the camera is distorting that, but I try not to use a fisheye effect on here, but you've got something that is parallel. And now the tricky part with these nacelles, in fact with all nacelles, is that you don't want to try to make, it's not this edge that you want to make parallel to the body, it's the seam you want to make parallel. It is this edge right here that needs to be parallel with the rest of the body, because the engines taper on all four sides. They taper this way and they taper that way. So yeah, it's an optical illusion at best, but you want to have the entire nacelle be square and parallel and all that kind of good stuff, not any one particular edge of it. So if that makes any sense, it's easier with a round nacelle than it is with these angular nacelles, because you can really see when something tubular is overall parallel to another line easier than you can see when something that is angular is parallel. At least it is for me. But I'm happy with the parallelness here. Let me get that closer. I'm happy with this angle. I'm happy with these angles. The only angle that's a bit weird is from the back, because you're seeing the cumulative effect of all of the tapering. So it's tough to find out exactly which point it is you're trying to square up on. I am looking down the edge of the pylons and following the edge of the pylons, and then this seam here, but even that tapers towards the back. So not as easy to describe as what it is when you're actually just looking at it, but it's like everything else in life, it's what you do by eye and what looks good. So I've got these to a point where I am satisfied with them, and now I just need to let this putty harden up so that I can come back and scrape some of the big globs off, and also start to do the sanding on the sand off some of the smaller bits, and then put the Bondo putty into it. Well, good morning. It is Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Has been all morning. And yesterday, as you'll recall, I puttied in the nacelles and I left those to set up overnight. And it was good because I took a little road trip yesterday. Grabbed a buddy of mine and said, let's go to Virginia. No, it wasn't a spur of the moment thing. It was a dedicated task. It was a mission. And the mission was to pick up 3 more of these. Yes, I'm in Lou's Discount House of Chairs. Actually, I went to found these online on eBay, and found out the seller was within a couple of hours of driving, and was able to make a pretty good deal on them by buying all of them and going to pick them up myself. I saved myself a pretty penny. So I will be adding these to the collection. Now these are the swivels ones, the ones that actually swivel, not the stationary chair like I already have. And so I am going to, I'm expecting the upholstery and the toppers to come from Ralph Friday. Hopefully I will wait until I get them put together to get him on this report. But once I'm assured of the quality of what Ralph does, and I've heard nothing but good things about it, but you know, you still want to see for yourself because it is a chunk of an investment. There's the base of, let me zoom in on there. There's the base of the other chair, just awaiting, and the chair itself is outside being blued because this is one of those rare days when it's warm enough to do so. So what I'm doing is once I'm pretty sure of the quality of what I'm getting when I deal with Ralph, I will call him up and tell him that these are number 103s. They are different. I know more about Burke chairs now than I ever thought I would. The 103s are the ones that swivel. The 115s don't swivel. Anyway, I may go down the road of getting these 3 done, at least 2 of them. If I don't get all 3 of them done, at least 2 of them. And then I'll have a nice dinette set. Okay, I just stepped my little feet outside to put a coat of paint on the chairs, or on the one chair that I already had. And I noticed what a lovely day it was turning out to be, so that further prompted me to get back onto these 2 little beauties and get them ready to put a coat of primer on them, since it'll be a great day for primer drying. What I've done really is I'm going in with the Dremel with the little ball head on it, and I am lightly sanding or grinding down the epoxy putty that I put over this joint, getting the big stuff down with the grinder and then touching it up with the file to get it ready for the priming. So as exciting and thrilling as I'm sure that would be for you to look at, I'm going to keep those secrets to myself, exactly which hand I use this in. So I'll be back as soon as I finish doing the touch-up. Okay, done with that so much, and I'm going to put in just a little bit of Bondo over some of the obvious cracks that are still there. That's very pretty. That's very pretty. But for every one of these, there is one of these that isn't so pretty. So what I'm going to do is put some Bondo over the obvious cracks and things I can see now, and let that dry, sand it a little bit, prime everything, and that'll show up the cracks that I can't see, because there's always one or two. Well, this is certainly a sweet surprise. I was just running out the door to take an order to the post office when this box was sitting at my back door. It's from Ralph. It's the cushions for the chair. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, look how well that is made. Hat is off to Mr. Ralph Miller and all the fine people at his employ. Top simply slides down over the top of the back. Cushion velcros into the original cushion position. Now this is the 115 chair that does not rotate, but based on this I certainly have no qualms about ordering more backs and more cushions for the ones that do rotate. And here are the triangles. Now the triangles go on the back of the chair like that, and these are made of a bendable or a soft, not quite a resin, I guess they might be a resin, but they are soft and pliable enough to follow the curve of the back of the chair. Now I was a bad boy and went ahead and painted mine ahead of putting those on, which is contrary to Ralph's instructions, so we'll take that as a lesson learned, but I will certainly not paint the other ones before I get those triangles for those chairs. But we'll see if I have any problems getting them to stick. I think if I warm them up a little bit and map everything out, I should still be able to attach them with some, I'm trying to think of what the best putty to be used. Probably clear epoxy to put those down. They will hold them the best. Okay, another one of the 1,000,006 things I managed to get done today was to bring in the Discovery. You ask yourself, why did Lou leave that obvious space, long skinny space between his posters? Well, now you know why Lou left his obvious skinny space between his posters, because I planned on putting the Discovery there. And it fits in so nicely, which really cements the idea that this room is supposed to be a model display. And before, I had this Discovery way up on a shelf, way up high where you really couldn't see it. So I wanted to bring it down to where you could appreciate it on an eye level. And some folks have commented, yes, I'd also mounted my lightsabers, as every good lightsaber owner should do. Just, keep them away from children. Get back to this chair. What I'm doing now is mapping out very carefully the area where these rectangles, three sides triangle, where these triangles are going. And once you get the first one mapped out, the other two are very easy to square off of that. So what I need to do now is rough this up with a sanding sponge so that I can give this a good bite, or a good place for the glue to bite into. Okay, here's where we're going to leave the chair for a Wednesday evening. I've got these triangles mounted. I tell you, that Loctite gel is amazing stuff. I really like that. I might start using that for other purposes. I was looking for something uniform to space those with, so I just decided to make them a pencil width apart. Just put one down, put a pencil up against it, and push the other one up against it, and trap the pencil in between. And there you have uniform spacing. And it's kind of tough because it has that curve in it, and these pieces are flexible enough to follow the curve. It's quite amazing. I don't know exactly what product they were cast out of, but very, very nice. Very happy with that. So we're going to let these set up tonight, and then tomorrow we're going to start with a coat of gray primer, and then work back to the blue color, and then put the top on, and this chair will be done. Here's where we're going to be finished with the both of the little Federation ships tonight. Well, they're all 3 Federation ships. They come from Federation models, and I'm going to put the web address right down in here so that you can get some of these for your very own, because they're quite nice and they're building up very nicely. So give Tracy the business. The primer has covered up all of the Bondo on the seams on the warp engines, and tomorrow I will be ready to start painting. Putting a base coat on, and then start doing some detail painting even. Good morning, it's Thursday, and we're gonna try to get as much done today as we did yesterday. When I look back at all the stuff I got done yesterday, I was astounded, and still had time to enjoy the evening. So that's, I think, going to be a model for today, no pun intended. Going to get a base coat on these. All of the primer from yesterday has dried. I did a little light sanding, and now we're ready for top coating. And out in the other room, I've got the chairs on the triangles. I got the triangles on the chairs, on the chair, and I'll show you that in a second. But as many of you know, for many years, my actual career, I was a graphic artist. I was responsible for making publications and brochures and books and all that kind of stuff. So I love me a good typo, or I love a good, a bit of absurdity when I see it. And when I was putting up the sabers the other day, I pulled out the instructions. I like to keep instructions. I don't know about you. Sometimes it'll help if you are stuck for figuring out what battery to replace. But these are the instructions for the Darth Vader lightsaber, the Force FX lightsaber. Now, here's where it gets absurd. The thing down here says, warning, choking hazard. Yeah, if it's a Vader saber, there's a choking hazard. I just found the absurdity of warning anything connected with Darth Vader as having a choking hazard. So that's my bit of absurdity fun for the day. Let's go look at a chair. Okay, I've got the chair up on the table just because it brings the triangles up to eye level and it's easier to work with. But they're on. And the back is on just for placement. Now these obviously have to be painted, but it is so freaking cold outside. We're actually getting a winter storm warning, which happens very rarely in North Carolina. But these have been glued on with the Loctite gel, which I have quickly fallen in love with. So focus, there you go. So all I need to do now is hit it with a coat of primer, filler, and then light sanding, and then the blue coat back over top of it. But turned out very, very nice, I think. Okay, job 1 for today is going to be zooming back out. Job 1 for today is going to be drilling the holes for these stands. Before we start getting into too fussy of paint jobs, I want to make sure I'm done abusing the kits as much as possible. So I'm going to simply drill these out and then pick a nice place on the bottom of these, and it seems to be an obvious one right in the center of the warp core access hatch. And it's good. That's for these two. Might be a little bit trickier determining where that hole is going to go because on the wing defender, because I need to find A, the center of gravity, and B, a place that it's going to be tall enough. So I'm thinking that it's going to want to go right in here, but I need to make sure that I leave enough to allow for the height of the ship. These ships are very flat, but with the guns hanging down, I need to make sure that that is all sitting up And I rather than trying to make any sort of fancy angle with these, I'm just going to put them straight up and down. And then if Tracy wants to angle them, he can just bend the copper rods there to achieve the bend that he wants. Hello and welcome back to every modeler's favorite game show, Perception versus Reality. Today, the chair edition. This brings up a question that comes up no matter what subject you're painting. Do I paint it the colors that the actual prop was, or do I paint it the way I remember it? And here's today's quandary. Working on the triangles on the chairs, I've got them glued down. I've put a coat of primer over them, and I've spray painted them spa blue. Now this is gloss spa blue. This is the color that Ralph recommends for painting the blue parts of the chair, and that's probably pretty darn accurate. I don't want to second guess Ralph on anything dealing with these chairs, because he has proven himself more than once to be quite the inside master of these. But, and this is a big but, no, J-Lo is nowhere near here. This spa blue would be the perfect color if you were going to put these chairs under hot, bright studio lighting situations. And they would blanch out the blues, and you would get something closer to this color, which is what people at Star Trek Continues recommend, which is closer to my old friend Peekaboo Blue. I cannot find the sky blue color they recommend, although I can see that what they're recommending is very close to what I've got here. This is a craft color of sky blue. It's not the Rust-Oleum sky blue, so it's not, different brand, but we're in the same ballpark. This is very close, again, like I said, to that Krylon Peekaboo blue that I used on the Galactica Vipers. But here's the thing. This makes a very good base color, and it gives me the good shadow lines that I want. It's a good covering color because I have very little of that light blue available to me, so I don't want to, I hate to use the word waste it, but I don't want to use it up, shoot my load of that, when I can get this sky blue in tons of cans. There's plenty of it around. So what I do is I base coat the sky blue, I'm sorry, the spa blue. This is spa blue. I base coat this in the spa blue, let it dry, and then come over the top of it with what I call the high dollar glue, the high dollar paint, which is the rare stuff, the Peekaboo blue, the sky blue. So that's today's edition of What Color Is It? And here you can see both of the Nova class ships. Actually, the Rhode Island and the Equinox. Shouldn't be generalizing them like this, but they've got their base coat of gray on them, and from here on in, it's all detail painting. And I'm gonna let that sit and dry for a good long while. Now I have to get far enough back away that you can see the whole thing. But here is the finished bridge chair, the stationary 115 chair with triangles on the back, proud to take its place on any starship bridge, and will make a worthy addition to the display room. Well, good morning and happy Friday. I am starting to lay colors down on these. Last night I put a quick coat of satin, light coat of satin, on the hulls, just because I knew I was going to be manhandling them today and wanted them to be a little bit tougher than just your Tamiya coat of paint. So I've put some tape down, and I have sprayed a darker gray into these trenches. Well, wait, something doesn't look right, you say? Yes, I pulled off the masking around that and got some very nice dark gray trenches. What? Something looks strange over here. I can't explain it to you other than I failed in my primary first step that I've been preaching for years. Wash your parts in soap and water. Get the mold release off of them. I don't know what happened. I thought I had cleaned them sufficiently. It was only this bottom part. The top still has the lovely, well, most of it is still there, has the lovely gray that I put on it. But when I took the tape off, huge chunks of paint came off with it. And I'm talking the yellow frog tape that is supposed to be for very delicate stuff. So, bottom line is, all of this had to be stripped and repainted. Okay, we're back up to the gray we were before all of the nightmare began. So, we're going to let that sit for a while and get good and dry. And then I'm going to repeat the thing about hitting it with a light coat of satin, because it worked very well on this one. And I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is maybe start doing some more detail work on this one while waiting for the other one to dry. I kind of had hoped to do them in tandem, but that may not be the practical way to get anything done. Okay, and this looks like a good place to leave it for the week. Started putting in some color. Now, a lot of what you would traditionally call color on these two ships are going to be handled with the decals. So I'm going to let the decals do their own talking. So I've got this area here I need to paint in, and then of course paint in the windows. But these lifeboats all have decals covering them, and of course the name and whatnot. But these, and there are some other big bits, especially on the bottom, that are handled with decals, and I don't want to paint those, because the mission here is to do a box build, and the box build is a question of, you know, what can you get if you build this ship straight out of the box. So even though I might want to add more detail to it, or scratch build some additional parts for it, that's really not the mission statement here, and I really can't do that, because that would be deceptive. That would be promising more than what you get in the box. So I'm just building it up exactly as anybody would, just using the parts that are in the boxes. And this is the other successful project for the week. I just wanted to show you the wrap up of getting the chair finished, getting the Discovery put up, doing some rearranging of models. But let me do a quick turnaround on this. Since this chair does not swivel, I wanted to show you the back of it, to show you the lovely triangles. And I will be working on the swiveling versions in the coming weeks, so I'll have a whole bunch of chairs before this is all said and done. And that's going to do it for the first full week of January of 2017. Got a lot done on the two Federation ships. Of course, I got the building part done, which is the important one, and I'm starting to put the detail painting in. And the Wing Defender is in the wings, as it were. And the big news was getting that chair done this week, and getting some straightening out done in the room. So that's the kind of stuff we're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. I got to get these finished, get them back to Tracy, and start working on the Proteus. So until next week, when we will pick this right up and continue it downfield, have a good week, be good to each other, and we'll see you back here next week.